Hey folks, today is Friday, March 6th, 2020. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about the video game news that has been going on this week, and it is a wild and crazy, jam-packed week, so let's just jump right into it. The first thing we got to talk about is Google Stadia, and what's the deal, man? Did you cancel your subscription?
I did.
Good. You almost forgot. That was going to be bad. But the newest news is an interesting report from Business Insider. Ben Gilbert went and talked to some developers, some people on the inside, and to see why developers aren't jumping onto the Stadia ship, why they're not putting their games on that platform. And the answer is actually pretty simple, and it makes sense. It seems like for the first time in quite some time, developers and players seem to kind of be thinking the same way with this. It's just not really enticing for them. The answer is really twofold. A lot of these developers spoke in the report saying that in terms of things like this, for more indie developer games, they need incentives to come to the platform. Usually in these instances, the company will say, hey, we want you on our platform. Here's a little funding to get you on it. Whereas the big companies, they have infinite resources. They could just say, yeah, sure, check a box. We could just spend that money and put it on there. No problem, even if there's an audience or not. A lot of developers have said that Google Stadia has come to them and said, hey, we're Google. You want to be on our thing? That's it. That's all we have. And developers really didn't want to do that. That and the lack of trust. It seems like developers are thinking like a lot of players and thinking, is Google really going to stick with this product? Is this really going to last? The main word being thrown around in the report is that incentives are basically non-existent, but not just from a monetary standpoint, but the fact that it's not that established. It doesn't have the biggest user base. So there we have, from the horse's mouth, an explanation of why Google Stadia hasn't been taking off, why it doesn't have too many games. In case you guys are still interested, if there are still people hanging on to this platform, good for you guys, but we're not really fans here. But if you want to read up on it, it's linked in the description below, as well as everything else we talk about this week. But now we got to jump on a surprising bit of news. The Last of Us is getting a TV show. Now, as you guys probably remember, Neil Druckmann's Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann has gone on record stating that he hasn't been happy with the process of it being made into a movie. And now the latest news is that Neil Druckmann himself has signed on with one of the creators of Chernobyl from HBO to create a new Last of Us television series for HBO. That's really all we know. We know Craig Mazin, the Chernobyl guy, has gone on record saying he is a player of video games. There seems to be some passion behind this project, so we're going to hope for the best. I will say, I think it's a match made in heaven, at least because TV is really kicking ass right now. TV can really do whatever it wants. TV has gotten big budget. TV has been able to really expand upon storylines. So I'm hoping HBO is the right home for something like this. I think the big question is, yes, The Last of Us is an amazing cinematic game experience, but if you were to just put some of that on TV, it could come across as just another post-apocalyptic television show. So they're going to really have to hone in on some of the stuff that makes The Last of Us special. What's that going to be? Is it going to be Joel and Ellie? Is it going to be a direct adaptation? Is there going to be a giraffe in the show? These are the questions I'm asking. But this is a conversation, of course, and I really want to hear from you guys in the comments. What do you think a Last of Us TV show could be like? What do you want that to be? Literally, all I want is for it to be good. Oh, and by the way, Castlevania Season 3, if we're talking about good things, that has dropped this week. You should watch it. Highly recommend that show. Just saying. But let's move on. Amnesia is back. Yes, the horror game series that kind of kicked off a lot of YouTubers and a lot of Let's Players' careers in the early days, kind of like a cultural point for gaming and just indie horror and the return of horror in a lot of ways. Oh, we're getting a new one, and it's called Amnesia Rebirth, and it's dropping fall 2020. We got this pretty exciting trailer, which we will link in the description below. Apparently, it's a direct continuation of the original game. All you can really tell from this is that it seems like there's more of a budget, there's a little bit more going on, and it's still frictional games, which is good. The original people are behind this. I'm really excited to see what comes of this. Can they take the Amnesia brand and use it to once again kind of push horror forward in a new way like they did last time, or just make another good game? I don't care, man. Whatever. I just hope it's good, and I hope it's scary. Bottom line. And in some surprise, exciting news, Ghost of Tsushima, the PlayStation 4 exclusive from Sucker Punch, the guys behind Infamous, stuff like that. We got a release date. It's June 26th. Not only that, we got a bunch of details about a cool collector's edition you could buy. It has it comes with a horse. But most importantly, we got a new, pretty lengthy and kick-ass trailer. to be quite honest, this is the first trailer that like really got me on board with this game. I really get what they're going for here. Gameplay wise, I still don't totally know what to expect, despite hearing a lot of things and seeing a lot of things. This trailer just really sold me on the vibe, the story they're trying to tell, how they're going to tell it. So I'm in that regard. Also, I'm happy that this game is finally coming out. I'm a big fan of Sucker Punch and what they've made. They've been working on this for a long time, so I'm ready. Also, like I've been saying, Sony news has been kind of dry the last couple of weeks, so I'm very happy to talk about this. I'm glad we got a thing. And now, before we move on, this episode is brought to you by Puma and Finish Line. We actually worked with them last week at PAX East to show off the convention show floor, meet up with a lot of you guys out there, and give you some sneakers. You guys know, like us gameranx boys in the office here, really love our sneakers, so this was a match made in heaven. These are the Future Riders. I personally really like them because you guys know I like bright, colorful, crazy sneakers. These are available for men and women. They're extremely comfy. They worked out really well walking the convention show floor at PAX East last week. They got a good price, and they come in multiple colorways that I think some of you guys might really dig. So if you want to check them out, they're linked down in the description below. Thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Thanks for that, but now let's talk about some cool stuff going on in the video game world this week. First, I want to highlight what Lance McDonald has done. We've talked about him in the past and highlighted what he's done, but he hacked the God of War camera to make it a free-floating camera so you can move around the environment. It's not just the one take behind the shoulder. And he's highlighted a lot of really cool scenes and stuff, but the biggest thing to come out of this is that he revealed that in the opening scene, the big fight with Baldur, he actually flips you off, like hidden, like when the camera isn't looking at him, like Kratos, when Kratos like throws him off the cliff, as he's falling off the cliff, when he's out of view, he gives the middle finger, and I love stuff like that. Whoever put that in the game, God bless you. And again, of course, thanks to Lance McDonald and just hacks in general for doing cool stuff like this. It'll be linked in the description below. Also, just wanted to point out as well, there is a Final Fantasy VII Remake demo that is available on PSN. That was like a nice surprise this week. A lot of people are playing it. A lot of people have positive impressions of it. I've played this demo at previous events. I'm really excited for this game, but I just love all Final Fantasy. If you are curious, we also have a link to some gameplay from PAX East for Grounded. That is that Obsidian game that's a survival game that's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, kind of. Tom and I played it in London a couple months back. Not too hot on it, but you can judge for yourself from the gameplay. Also, Black Mesa is out. That's that long-awaited fan remake of the original Half-Life. And I wanted to link Digital Foundry's video because they did a really good job comparing and contrasting the original game to this. Check it out. It's a really fun watch if you love Half-Life. And honestly, play the game too, because Half-Life Alyx is coming out soon. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. Also, I've linked some new Valorant gameplay. This is the first real good look at the new competitive first-person shooter game from Riot Games, the people behind League of Legends. And maybe I'm getting old. Like, I see a lot of people are really into this. I don't really think this looks too hot. I love being proven wrong. This game is probably going to explode and become this amazing thing. But for me, it just feels a little bit too much like just CSGO and Overwatch mixed together. Maybe that's a match made in heaven for a lot of people. I get it. I'm still going to give the game a shot. I'm not like a negative asshole. But yeah, I'm very curious to hear what you guys think, because that's like a whole different world, a whole different realm of gaming. All that Riot Games, League of Legends stuff, you know? But back on Half-Life for a sec, I do want to talk about this. Earlier in the week, we got a bunch of new looks at Half-Life Alyx, which drops at the end of the month. The gameplay coming out, the press impressions coming out are really exciting. I'm so into this. I also love VR games, but some of the Valve developers have gone on record saying that yes, they are hoping that they can work on more Half-Life installments in the future. Ryan McCaffrey at IGN did an interview with Chris Remo and Robin Walker, who worked on Alyx, and they were asked if like that's it for Half-Life for now, or if they're energized to make more games in that whole Half-Life universe. And Remo said, and I quote, "I think much more the latter than the former for sure. It's really clear that people at the studio really like working in this universe and have really enjoyed making this game. And like, why wouldn't you? You know, it makes a lot of sense. As someone who's only been at Valve for a couple of years, it is sort of amazing to come in contact with all this stuff that I recognize so deeply." And then Walker said, "Yeah, I mean, hopefully everyone likes the game and they want more of it. So yes, I hope you see more from us a lot sooner than last time." Now, these are, of course, two working developers that would, of course, like to keep working and keep making games for their job. But also, they sound to me like genuine Half-Life fans, and I know a lot of us really just want more games from that stuff. So, Half-Life 3 confirmed? No, not really. But more Half-Life stuff? Maybe, possibly. And I think that's a net positive. Speaking of net positives, let's talk about Star Wars games. There's another one. After a leak this week, some people have found in the back end of the PSN store this here. This is Star Wars Project Maverick. This is rumored to be a game, a new, more like off-kilter, more experimental game from EA Motive. Kotaku has reported on this in the past. Apparently it's more of a smaller experience, but still very much a licensed Star Wars game thing. But there's a lot of speculations floating around still, like what exactly is this thing? Is it going to be directly from EA Motive? Is this just some other thing? Is this a canceled thing? Who knows? It's still up in the air right now. We still are taking a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt until we hear it from the official Star Wars horse's mouth. Regardless though, I'm just curious to hear what you guys think. But before we go, we got to do that console giveaway we do every single week. You know how this works by now. There's a link in the description below. You click it to sign up. You enter once, then you're entered for good. And then every single week, we randomly choose one person to win a free console of their choice. This week's winner is going to be this person right here. Congratulations. Be sure to keep an eye on your inbox, your spam box, stuff like that, because we're going to be reaching out to you to find out how to send you your free stuff. Also, I've noticed more and more, a lot of people are watching this video on Facebook. Shout out to you guys. We will find a way to easily make that link accessible to you guys. Thanks for watching. But now before we go, we got to talk about everything going on this week. First of all, Half-Life Alyx. Are you excited? Do you not have VR? Are you pissed off? Are you hoping that they just make more games in the Half-Life universe? Also, Google Stadia. Are you still on board? If you are, we're not going to hate on you. I want to know what you think. Did you play the Final Fantasy Remake demo? What do you think? Amnesia? What do you really want from something like that, an Amnesia game in 2020? And Ghost of Tsushima, are you going to be playing that day one? What do you think? Let's talk about anything that has been going on gaming this week down in the comments below. Of course, everything gets a little crazy, so if you want to yell at me directly, be sure to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Jake Baldino. But like I always say, thank you guys for coming around and watching us talk about the news every Friday. It means the world to us. It's one of our favorite things to make here. Also, shout out to you guys. We got to see at PAX East. It was really good to meet you, talk with some of you guys, get some feedback and stuff. We really always appreciate that stuff. But if you enjoyed this video, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. Genuinely, we really appreciate that. And if you're new, consider subscribing because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Pizza's on me.